Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our On Point podcast. I am Mark McKee, head of Viewpoint School, and today's episode is called Tomorrow Starts Today. We're exploring the value of planned giving and building a legacy for generations to come. We're also officially launching the Rasmussen Legacy Society, which you'll hear about in this episode. I am here with two distinguished guests, Kathleen Rasmussen and her daughter, Erin Mann Urbina. Kathleen is a proud alumni parent, a current grandparent, and is serving as a trustee and vice chair of advancement on our board of trustees. She's joined by her daughter, Erin, an alumna from the class of 2006, a current parent, and an active volunteer as the primary school representative in the VSSA, the Viewpoint School Service Association. Kathleen and Erin, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
My pleasure.
We're so proud to announce the launch of the Rasmussen Legacy Society, a distinguished group of alumni, families, and friends recognized for their thoughtful commitment to the future of our school through planned gifts. Named in honor of the late and great Dean Rasmussen, Chair Emeritus of our Board of Trustees, and his remarkable family, the Rasmussen Legacy Society is Viewpoint's love letter to Dean and to his visionary leadership, which his family carries forward. Kathleen and Erin are here today to celebrate Dean's legacy, tell our community about this important mode of philanthropy, and share their stories. So, legacy giving comes in the form of planned gifts, estate gifts, bequests, and other deferred gifts. It can sound abstract or even intimidating. At Viewpoint, these types of gifts aren't as widely talked about as our annual fund or our benefit, but they're extremely important to sustaining our school and providing families with the opportunity to leave a legacy. Kathleen, can you share with our listeners what planned giving is broadly and why specific forms of planned giving, such as bequests, are so powerful?
I think that for us, I'll speak from my experience and from Dean and what we did. Planned giving was a way that we could target what we wanted our legacy to be, whether it was the bequests that Dean and I are both making in our will and trust. It could be deferred gifts that come over time from a real estate source or another kind of gift. It could, and so we have made both of those as well as capital gifts towards building, and those planned gifts for buildings we took from different sources, appreciated stocks and other things, in order to make those gifts over a period of time. So it's an umbrella term. Mm-hmm. But it can be confusing when you're talking about estate giving, planned giving, bequests, endowment, all those terms.
I think they all have in common the desire to make a difference. When and why did you and Dean decide to pursue leaving a legacy at Viewpoint through bequests in your wills?
I think we, in great part because we both believe so strongly in education. My parents were both public school teachers. Mm-hmm. Dean went to college only because he went into service. He went to the Merchant Marine Academy and then did his service. Otherwise, he would never been able to go to college. And so it's our strong belief in education and leaving a legacy that sets an example for our children and our grandchildren.
I met Dean, and he was very devoted to education. He was, of course, really a great business leader over a lengthy, illustrious career. And I guess it was really grounded in the education he received, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah, he was, he loved history. He was an amazing history buff. And so I think when he would read about the leading figures in our world and in history, he wanted to make his mark too. And so education was always the most important to us. Neurodegenerative disease is also another that we strongly believe in and give to also. Mm-hmm. But really, the joy of our life together and my life has been around Viewpoint School, because I worked here. I met Dean here because he was a trustee, and then all of these years that we put my kids through Viewpoint. He had already put his kids through Viewpoint, and now we're providing for our grandkids so that they can go to Viewpoint.
That's amazing. Erin, as you bring your family to Viewpoint and carve out the next generation's pathway, what would you share with fellow alumni who seek a connection to the school?
You know, when I started here, it was a really small little canyon school. And although the school looks a lot different now, it really has the same values and it has the same feeling. And when we came back with Isabella, my daughter, it was like almost like a welcome home. Like it felt the way that it did when we were here, and there's still this love of learning and this community where it feels like, you know, everyone is watching out for each other and taking care of each other. And there are so many moments where you just kind of pinch yourself as an alumni. Like when Isabella started TK, the first day I dropped her off, I could tell that she was a little nervous, as everyone is on their first day of school, especially at a new school. And we were driving around in the carpool line, and I kind of counted all the cars in front of me, and I realized, oh my gosh, Miss Edelman is going to open our door. And as you know, she was here when I was here, and she watched over me when I was little, and I kind of got teary-eyed, and I looked at Isabella and I said, Isabella, a really special person is going to open your door, and she's really going to help you today. And it brought me so much calm, and it brought her so much calm. And those kind of moments happen over and over again as we're reliving this Viewpoint experience with our kids. And it's just such a special time.
I have a question about that, but Kathleen, what's it like to watch your daughter as a mom at Viewpoint?
I know. Well, because I get to relive those moments. I get to relive like the little engine that they still perform, and going to Great Pumpkin Day, the assembly, and we're going into the Christmas program, which is really, really special also. So, and I'm really proud of Erin. I'm really proud of her and her as a parent, and also how much involved she's gotten in the school. I kind of warned her, once you start getting involved, it's kind of hard to pull back.
It gets under your skin maybe for decades.
Yes.
Erin, what grade were you when you first came to the school?
Third grade.
Third grade. And Mrs. Edelman was the head of the lower school at the time. It was all one division.
Yep.
We're sitting here in this, podcast studio is an academic hall where, my offices are. And this building was built in the early 2000s, your class of 06. So this was not here when you came to this school. The Viewpoint campus ended. This wasn't even on the Viewpoint campus.
Yeah, true.
This would have been the Meadow Oaks campus. And so it's really moving to think about how the school has grown and changed since you started here, and yet it feels the same.
Yeah, exactly. It does. And running into so many of the same teachers, I think there's two things about Viewpoint that speak volumes. One is that alumni send their children here. And I think the second is that the teachers and the faculty stay for so long. I was doing an employee appreciation breakfast, and it was a whole school thing. And one of my favorite teachers, who is Mrs. Dunn, came up and she recognized me. I, of course, recognized her.
Chair of our film department, Catherine Dunn.
Yes.
Who was here when you were in high school, for sure. Okay.
And middle school, she actually taught my 8th grade English class.
Okay.
And she was, I can't even tell you, she was such a big influence on me. She was just like a cool teacher. Like, she taught Catcher in the Rye, and like she understood you, And I was so flattered that she recognized me, and I got to have kind of a conversation with her, and we got to catch up. And again, moments like that happen over and over here.
It really is a place where we can have an impact over generations, which brings us to endowments. An interesting historical fact. Viewpoint's very first bequest created our endowment. It was a realized bequest from the estate of Lottie Behrens. The lower school is still in the Behrens building, the namesake of our lower school building. Today, our endowment has grown to nearly $30 million, thanks to additional investments and estate gifts from visionary donors who build the future. These bequests and other deferred gifts provide transformative support that leave a lasting impact on the school. Endowment's a term that our audience may or may not be familiar with. It's a vital part of our school's financial strength, and it's often connected to legacy giving because endowments last in perpetuity. Kathleen, can you describe what an endowment is and why you've prioritized it in your family's philanthropy?
For me, endowment means creating the safety net for the future, and also means in which the school can grow and flourish, and also meet the needs of any new program that may come along. It can even be a capital investment. Our gifts are going towards endowment for scholarship for faculty children. Beyond tuition remission, because I think that one of the ways that we keep the best faculty possible is by making sure that the whole family is there. Because when I was working here as in advancement, I got tuition remission, and it was very important to me. There was not going to be any other way, and this is before I met Dean, that the kids could have gone to school here. And I was much happier, especially as a single mom. It just made me happy. Jeremy used to go by my office on his way from kindergarten to the pool, and pass by my office each time with all of his buddies, and I could just sit in my window and watch them all and watch the dynamics of the classroom, and it just brought me such joy.
And so as you now think about a legacy for Viewpoint, you're prioritizing that sort of financial aid for our employees.
I want the faculty to be happy. I want them to bring their children to school here. And I think it's all excellent for the school.
You're a member of our board, and trustees hold the future of the school in trust. From that strategic perspective, why do you think endowment's important to our board?
Oh, goodness. Well, it helps the balance sheet. But more than that, it creates an income stream, because in endowment you give the gift, but you get you can use some of the income stream depending on how well it does and what the parameters are that the donor puts on it. So it creates an additional revenue stream for the school.
That's right. So tuition is about 86% of our revenue, does not pay all the expenses. And our annual giving is another big portion of our revenue. But that endowment, almost $30 million, 4% of that each year can create an additional revenue stream.
Correct.
So it is important. Yeah. And as that grows over time, that increases our ability to fulfill our mission.
And because we have a great investment committee on the board, it's done very well.
That's right. It's so important to be holding the future of the school in trust. Why did you choose that for the Rasmussen Family Endowment?
Endowment?
Yeah.
I chose endowment just because I wanted to create the biggest impact. Endowment lives on into the future of the school. And Dean believed really strongly in legacies and setting an example for the children and the grandchildren. And we encourage them to give to their greatest ability. And so Dean loved legacies. Hey, he named the Rasmussen Family Pavilion, and also he gave the Benjamin Franklin Library, and so he loved legacies.
It's great. Obviously, we're sitting here with this image of Dean over your shoulder here, and I had the privilege of meeting him, and around the time actually that you were giving the gift that named the Benjamin Franklin Library. So I've heard him talk about his love of American history. He was a patriot.
He was a patriot.
And his belief in legacy. And so in that way, through that endowment, he'll always be with us here at Viewpoint.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Erin, you've come full circle. What does legacy mean to you in your role as a former student, alum, and a parent?
It's really building something I think that will outlive you, and your children, are such a big part of that. And I think instilling in them a love of education, a love of learning. I was reminded as we were preparing for this today that Dr. Dorkowski, Bob, as Mom calls him,
My
but
predecessor.
I will always say
That's
Dr.
right.
Dorkowski. He wrote a beautiful dedication to Dean after he passed, and he included a quote which I think was so Dean, and it was basically that a great man plants the seeds to a tree under which,
Future generations.
he will never sit under the shade of that tree.
That's
Is
right.
basically the gist of it. And I think that Dean made so many contributions and so many gifts throughout his life that he would never see the fruits of. But he knew that future generations would benefit from those gifts. And I think that that is a lot of what legacy means. I think there's part of yourself, obviously, that you would want to live on, but I think it's so much greater than that, because that's really what selflessness is, right? Is that someone besides you, it will benefit from it. And I think that was a big part of his understanding of legacy too.
And we taught you all about philanthropy.
Yeah.
They were raised understanding and learning about philanthropy and serving others, and the school service requirement was a big part of it so that they could find their own interests. But we taught philanthropy to our kids.
It's interesting. I feel like I'm sitting here with the whole history of our school. At least the
Almost,
school was
not quite.
Right. The school was founded in the 60s. So, but Dean's history at the school goes back to the early 1980s, right?
Maybe even 1980. I'm not quite sure.
He brought his sons here, and he was serving as a member of the board before my predecessor, Dr. Bob Dorkowski, was hired. Bob served in this role for 30 years. So I've been here 11. So that's over 40 years ago that Dean was on the board that hired Bob Dorkowski. And I'm just thinking about the fact, it's very easy when you come to a school like Viewpoint to walk by something like the Rasmussen Family Pavilion and just think, okay, that's a name. I don't know who that was. What did that matter? But before Dean and perhaps the others around him on the board, before Dean gave the gift that would help build that building, it wasn't there.
Yes.
And then it was, right? And then actually he helped improve it, I understand. Wasn't there, he was a commencement speaker one year, right? The early Rasmussen Family Pavilion, first of all, I've been told by people who were here that but it didn't used to have walls on the sides, right? It was a true pavilion. It was just a roof and the supports, right? And then they enclosed it. And even when they enclosed it, though, I understand it didn't have air conditioning.
Right.
What was the story of that?
Well, they built it. He built it as he was able to pay for it, essentially.
These were like scrappy days at Viewpoint.
Yeah, but I guess he forgot that it didn't have air conditioning because he was commencement speaker sometime in the 90s. And, of course, commencement's in
June. It can be hot.
And it was very hot. And he was up on stage sweating. And he said to everybody, you can take your jackets and coats off and relax and untie your shirt because it's really hot in here and that's what I want to do. And he said, we're going to have to take care of this. And then he donated the money and got the air conditioning put in. Air conditioning and heat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what he
Because
was
it wasn't
like.
heated either.
Yeah.
The pavilion in those early 90s must have been both a very cold place when it's damp like today, and it really was a stifling hot place for graduation.
Yes.
That's incredible.
But if he had an idea in his mind, he just got it done. He just figured it out, like you said, even in those kind of scrappy days. And he made it work.
And I know if I fast forward to when I first met Dean, I think I first met the both of you at the ribbon cutting for the new primary school building, where Mrs. Edelman's head of the primary school. And it was around the giving of the Ben Franklin Library. And it's very interesting that we're talking about legacy, about history, about patriotism. Dean was a big fan of Ben Franklin. Ben Franklin was also a big fan of endowments.
Oh,
Did you know that?
no.
Ben Franklin was such a big fan of endowments. He gave, and I believe it was to the cities of Boston and Philadelphia, he gave legacy gifts that he declared that they could not spend for 100 years. So that's much longer than anyone's lifetime at the time, certainly. And I was reading, actually, because of the chair of our board introduced me to this idea of Ben Franklin, that both of those gifts then, of course, 100 years comes along.
Yes, it does.
And
Pretty
then
quickly.
those cities were able to benefit from the proceeds of those endowment gifts in the way that future generations will. So I know, Dean, you and Dean gave us the gift to create the Ben Franklin Library.
Yes.
I think Ben Franklin would have been proud.
Yes.
And including a bust of Ben Franklin, right? The
Yes.
bust of Ben Franklin was Dean's?
Yes, it was at our house. I was very glad that it came to the school.
To all of the Viewpoint community, if you haven't seen the larger than life-size bust of Ben Franklin in the Ben Franklin Library, you'll have to stop by and see it. And it's not at all true. The eyes do not follow you as. Well, what does it mean to both of you to be part of this founding moment for the Rasmussen Legacy Society?
I'm really honored. We're really very, very honored. And I get emotional to think about it, but we worked with our financial planner and our attorney and all of this, and we set this up over 20 years ago to all of these plans. And 20 years went by like that. And I miss him horribly, but he gets to live on with me in these kinds of ways. And so the Rasmussen Legacy Society honors Dean.
Yeah, he would have loved it. And I have to say, too, he would have been really, really proud of Mom and all the work that she's doing. And they were always a true team. And they were so dynamic and powerful and, got so much accomplished together that I think he would be just really happy and proud that she's continuing forward with this mission.
I think about these family photographs, and you were having conversations long before your family had grown as it has into this generation.
Yeah, I met Dean in '94, coming from the East Coast, growing up in Michigan, with hair down to here in a braid, which I used to put up to look more professional. I was younger than Aaron, and I met him at a benefit at the Landon Ranch in Malibu, and he had on this big, huge Stetson and this cashmere coat and this big, huge Western belt buckle and boots. And I met him in '94. He made a big impression on me right from the beginning. And, we worked together when we were looking for property to acquire to expand the school. And we looked at many properties before Meadow Oaks became a reality. And we were working on the capital campaign early on. So Yeah, I knew Dean long before we started dating.
He was a big, bold, visionary thinker.
Yes. Yeah.
In his professional life too, right?
Yeah.
He built things for a living.
Yeah.
And then the idea that volunteers, both of you, volunteers like Dean, choose to dedicate their time and their talents and their treasure to a school like ours. You know, not everyone chooses to do that.
Yeah. And especially to do it continuing 40 years, the 40-year history.
Right. He believed
For
in the
40
school
years or,
after his sons had
more.
graduated.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
After all of the children had graduated,
Yes.
you were still involved, and before you were grandparents at the school.
Yes.
And I think Dean, Mom said it, but Dean had incredibly humble upbringings. He grew up in a trailer in Lancaster, and he had this opportunity to go to the Merchant Marine Academy for free. And I think he always felt like that was the thing in life that led him on the path that he was able to go down. And had he not had that, his life might have gone a really different direction. And so I think he always just valued education so highly and realized how much it could change someone's life.
What did he study?
Engineering.
Yep.
I thought so. Yeah.
And then he went to Arizona State after that and did another degree in engineering.
But like Mom said, he was a real history buff, and he in a way was a real teacher too. He kind of our family lore. When
It's like you have childhood memories of this man.
yeah, I mean, when Jer and I, to our dismay sometimes, at the dinner table, he had this book that was probably 3 inches thick, and it was called The World's 100 Most Influential People. And
Okay.
we had to read it out loud at the dinner table. And we read it multiple times over. But he just loved teaching, and I think I get it now as a parent. He loved seeing us discover these people and what they did and their stories. And
He was trying to teach you leadership skills too and inspire you.
Right. That's amazing, actually. So 100 of the world's
most influential people.
And
Most
so who do you
influential
think is
people.
number one?
oh,
It's by number of people influenced, not by what they did necessarily, because Hitler's somewhere in there. But who's number one, do you think? By number of people most influenced.
I would have to wonder, maybe Jesus Christ?
You're
Mohammed.
close.
Ah, okay.
Mohammed.
A religious figure, though.
Yes,
Yes.
the religious figure,
okay.
yeah.
I would have said the same thing, Jesus Christ, but that just shows our backgrounds.
Exactly. And Dean was a worldly man, right? A person who wanted to
yeah.
learn about the world. And we talk about our mission of world readiness. I really, thinking about Dean, I'm thinking about our love of learning wall, and the fact that love of learning is such a core value at the school. And he really was a symbol of love of learning, and that was a value that was important to him his whole life long. And the idea that there's a connection between, honestly, it sounds like your planned giving, the planning part of planned giving, sounds like homework.
It is. It is, but
It sounds like a
it's
lot
also-
of kind of boring conversations.
But there's also a tax-wise way of doing it where you
Right.
can plan over decades how to handle your money. There are ways to give that are tax advantageous to the donor. And so, Dean loved to not pay taxes, to pay as little tax as he could possibly get away with.
As an
So-
academic exercise.
That's right.
almost.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. He liked a challenge. He liked an
Yes.
academic challenge.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking. That it's a way that is both smart and good.
Yes.
Because I know as a nonprofit school, I really am so proud of our nonprofit sector in the U.S. and that Viewpoint's a part of it, because we do so much good in the world through charitable giving and through the tax policies that
Yes.
support it.
Yes.
And so so it is. There is an academic exercise here.
Even the bequests were a way of saving on taxes.
How do you hope this society will inspire a culture of philanthropy among our community of parents and grandparents and alumni?
Well, I think that it's a teaching moment, and it's a moment to inspire and show people, the community, grandparents, parents, alumni, faculty, maybe even, that they can leave their own legacy. And they can become an integral part of our community that way, our history, our future. And yes, I just hope it inspires, and I'm happy to talk with anybody anytime about it, and I will.
Right. It is a society, and
Yes.
it's a society everyone can join.
Yes.
People might have ideas about philanthropy, that philanthropy is only about big gifts.
Right. It doesn't
And
have to.
It doesn't have to be big gifts. I think gifts of all sizes matter.
Yes.
And I think about, those stories you read about the millionaire next door, who's a person who, lives a very humble life their entire lifetime, and yet, conserves their resources and leaves a massive legacy
Yes.
at the end.
Yes.
There's a way for anyone to participate. If you could leave one message with those in our community about what it means to create a legacy at Viewpoint, what would it be?
What comes to mind for you?
I think, the easiest for me way to think about legacy here at Viewpoint is just when you see when you see a student walk across campus. I mean, they are the embodiment, right, of what your legacy might be. And I think we can leave our children with so many things, and let's leave them with the really good stuff, with this love of learning and this feeling of community and respecting each other and being kind to each other and taking care of each other. And we have this amazing opportunity here at Viewpoint through the teachers and the faculty to instill all those things in them. And, we do what we can, obviously, as parents at home, but the truth is they spend the majority of the time here, and I think just making it a place for our kids and maybe their kids that they love going to, that they feel like is home, like I do.
Wow.
I knew she would do it more eloquently than I could ever do it.
That's beautiful. The two of you are in business together, are you not?
Yes.
We have complementary skills and some overlapping.
You are also good partners, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a joy. It's a great joy. It's really a great joy.
Erin, I didn't have the privilege of working at Viewpoint when you were a student here, but I can see, and it's a gift that I have as an educator, that I can sometimes see the child that someone was when they're an adult. And when I look at children, actually, I can see the adults that they have the potential to become. And it's something that motivates me. I just have this image of you being a student here. And then, not that many years later, but, so many years later, being a parent here with your own daughter here, your own family here. And just the way that really is. And the school's at a different place than it was when you were here. It's a stronger place, a better place. I
can, so the best way that is helping me right now is I not only have Isabella, but I have Gracie here as an 8th grader. That age where you're transitioning so much, and the nurturing that she's getting here, and having come here as a kindergartner all the way through, I can see the young woman that she's growing into be, a beautiful, bright young woman, and I can see Erin. I can see Erin too.
It's amazing. We really end up touching all the stages of life.
Yes.
In a word or a phrase, how would you describe the legacy that you hope your family leaves at Viewpoint?
I hope that we can inspire others to follow our example.
Erin?
I think just that we all take care of each other, and that's our privilege.
Wow. I think Dean would be very proud to
I
hear
hope
that.
so.
And my hope is that Dean's example of caring about this school and really loving this school for over 40 years, way beyond the impact on his own family. The hundreds or thousands of students that he's already had an impact on, that the more people that we can bring into this legacy society through planned gifts, through bequests, that I think about the way the school will be 100 years from now in Ben Franklin timelines, and how we won't be here to see it, but we know it'll be even better than it is today.
Yes, it will.
Well, Kathleen, Aaron, thank you for sharing your love for Viewpoint, your passion for philanthropy. The launch of the Rasmussen Legacy Society marks a new chapter in our school's story, one shaped by leadership, foresight, and enduring care for future generations. We're honored to celebrate Dean Rasmussen and the extraordinary values that he lived by. Together, we're going to carry his vision forward. I want to thank you, our listeners and our viewers. For more information about planned giving, please visit our website, viewpoint.org/giving. This is On Point. Tomorrow starts today. Kathleen, Aaron, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
On Point is produced by Viewpoint School, an independent school in Calabasas, California, serving students in grades TK through 12. You also can find the On Point podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the Viewpoint School channel on YouTube, and at viewpoint.org/onpoint.